Welcome to Rare Breed Brotherhood. The quietest ones often carry the deepest echoes. There's something different about you, and deep down you've probably known it your whole life. You don't chase attention, yet people notice you. You're not trying to control anyone, but somehow your silence makes them uneasy. You didn't choose to be mysterious. You just are. That's the Sigma way. You're not interested in playing social games. You don't need to fit in to feel whole. And that's exactly what makes you stand out. Not in a loud or dramatic way, but in a way that lingers. A lot of what you do on instinct. You don't even realize the effect you're having on people. But it's there. And sometimes it's chilling. Not because you're cold or cruel, but because you reflect truth. You expose things people would rather avoid. You see too much, hear too little, and care just enough to remain distant. You don't demand respect, you quietly command it. That quiet strength can be unsettling, especially in a world addicted to noise and validation. This isn't about being better than others. It's about being aligned with yourself. The Sigma male doesn't need a spotlight to shine. He doesn't need applause to move forward. If you recognize this in yourself, understand it's not a weakness, it's a gift, a rare one. And while others scramble to be seen, you are the reminder that presence has nothing to do with attention. You are the storm in stillness. The question mark in every room. Let's dive in deeper, brothers. Number 1, they mirror your soul without meaning to. This is one of the most unnerving things about Sigma males, and most of them don't even realize they're doing it. They don't need to speak much, ask deep questions, or even know your full story. All they have to do is be there, fully present, and that alone pulls something out of you. What makes this so intense is that Sigma males don't jump to judge or comfort. They're just silently watching, absorbing, understanding. And that silence, that stillness, it becomes a kind of mirror. Not a soft, flattering one, but the kind that shows what's really going on inside you. Let's say you're trying to fake confidence. Around most people, it works. You crack jokes, you keep your posture strong, you say all the right things. But with a Sigma, something feels off. He doesn't buy it. Not because he's calling you out, but because he's not reacting the way others do. Suddenly, you feel like your mask is slipping, and you don't know why. It's not that Sigma males are trying to expose you. They're just wired to sense what's real and what's not. Their minds are always observing patterns, tone of voice, shifts in energy, inconsistencies between words and behavior. And without saying a word, they start reflecting that back at you. This makes people nervous. Not because the Sigma is being rude, but because they're being true. They're a living mirror, and most people are afraid of what they might see in it. That's why Sigma males often attract broken people, curious people, or people looking for meaning. Being around them feels like facing yourself, and for those who aren't ready for that kind of truth, it can feel uncomfortable or even haunting. But for those who are ready to grow, that silent reflection becomes the start of something real. Number 2, they make people feel watched without even looking. It's one of those strange, hard-to-explain things. A Sigma male can be sitting quietly, minding his business, not looking at anyone directly. Yet people still feel like they're being seen, not glanced at, seen. And that feeling, it sticks. What's unsettling is that Sigma males don't try to intimidate or control the space. They aren't loud, they don't demand attention, and they rarely make strong eye contact unless it matters. But the air around them feels different, heavier, sharper, more alert. People start second-guessing themselves. They become more aware of what they're saying, how they're acting, even what they're hiding. It's not because Sigmas are judging, it's because they're aware, deeply. They pick up on the things most people ignore, micro-reactions, body language, nervous laughter, little contradictions in tone. And because they stay quiet, people assume they're being studied. And in a way, they are. Imagine you're telling a funny story in a group and everyone's laughing. Except one guy. He's not rude, he's not frowning. He's just still, calm, listening. He doesn't interrupt, but you feel like he already knows how the story ends. Suddenly the joke feels a little forced. That's the effect. People don't know how to act around someone who won't perform back, someone who doesn't need to match their energy or play along. And that mismatch makes people uneasy. They start wondering, why is he so still? What is he thinking? Did I say something wrong? The truth is, Sigma males aren't trying to make people nervous. They just operate from a different mental space, one that values observation over reaction. They see more because they need less. And when someone sees you that clearly, without even trying, it feels like your guard starts to peel back all on its own. That's not just presence, that's power. Number 3, they disappear emotionally while still standing right in front of you. This is one of the most confusing things about Sigma males. They can be sitting across from you, nodding, making eye contact, maybe even speaking. And yet, it feels like they're no longer there. It's not that they walked away. Their body's still present, but their energy, gone. Pulled back into some quiet place inside themselves. Most people don't know how to handle that. We're used to reading presence through obvious signs, smiles, tone, reaction. But Sigma males don't always play by those rules. When they emotionally withdraw, it's almost like a light goes off behind their eyes. They're not angry. They're not being passive-aggressive. They've just chosen to shut the emotional faucet off. Why? It could be anything. Maybe they're overstimulated. Maybe they just sensed something fake and lost interest. Maybe their internal world suddenly felt more real than the conversation in front of them. The thing is, they don't owe an explanation, and they usually won't give one. Imagine having a conversation with someone, sharing your thoughts, and halfway through you realize they're no longer feeling the moment with you. They're responding, but only out of politeness. That emotional retreat feels like you're trying to hold water in your hands, and it's slowly slipping away. That's what it's like when a Sigma male emotionally checks out. And the unsettling part? You probably won't notice it right away. They don't slam doors emotionally. They quietly fade. Their stillness becomes a wall you can't climb. And when you finally realize what happened, it feels like you've been talking to a shell, not a person. Sigma males don't do this to hurt anyone. It's a defense mechanism, a retreat, or sometimes just a shift into deeper thought. But to someone craving connection, that sudden disappearance, while they're still sitting right there, feels haunting. Like being alone with someone who used to be all in, but now, they've already left the moment. Number 4, they kill expectations in silence. There's something deeply unsettling about someone who doesn't explain themselves. Most people are used to a certain rhythm. You say what you're thinking, you give a hint of what's coming, you manage expectations to keep others comfortable, but Sigma males don't do that. They live on their own internal timing, and they're not interested in spelling out their next move. So what happens? You wait. You wonder. You overthink. The Sigma male's silence isn't cold, but it carries weight. It's the kind of quiet that forces people to sit with their own thoughts. That space between what you want from them and what they actually give. That's where the discomfort creeps in. They don't make promises. They don't reassure. They just move when and how they feel like it. And if you were expecting something from them, good luck figuring out what comes next. Take this example. You're in the middle of a conversation with them, maybe even a disagreement. You're waiting for a reaction, an answer, a defense, a reassurance, but they give you none. Just a pause, a silence that stretches too long. And in that stillness, your own mind starts playing tricks on you. Did they shut down? Are they angry? Are they done with this? You don't know, and they're not going to tell you. That's what makes it chilling. You never know if you're being tested, ignored, or simply observed. And because the Sigma male rarely explains, their silence gains power. It becomes the unknown, the unpredictable, the space where people project their own insecurities. And what makes it worse? Sigma males are completely fine with you not knowing. They don't feel the need to fill the silence. They're at peace in it. Meanwhile, everyone else is left scrambling for clarity, for answers, for anything to hold on to. In a world addicted to certainty, their silence becomes the loudest thing in the room. Number 5, they seduce with stillness. This is one of the most unusual traits of a Sigma male. He doesn't chase, he doesn't impress, and he definitely doesn't try too hard. And yet, without saying much or doing anything obvious, people feel drawn to him. Not because he's loud or flashy, but because of his stillness. That deep, grounded calm that makes you lean in while wondering why you're leaning in. Most people are used to being flirted with in ways they can measure. Compliments, jokes, playful touches, dramatic attention. But with a Sigma, it's different. He doesn't perform. He doesn't flatter. He just exists in his own self-contained space, fully present but unreachable at the same time. That emotional calm is magnetic, not desperate, not passive, just there, like a storm that never breaks but still holds electricity in the air. Imagine being around someone who doesn't need you to like them. They're not rude, they're not arrogant, they're just not trying. That lack of need creates mystery. It creates space. And in that space, people start wondering what he's thinking, what he's feeling, what it would take to get to him. That's the pull, the silence, the pause before the response, the relaxed posture that says nothing about approval or rejection. He could like you, or he could forget you tomorrow. You don't know. And that uncertainty, that's the seduction. He gives no hints, no roadmap. And for people used to loud praise or constant reassurance, that unreadable calm hits differently. It makes them curious. Then it makes them obsessed. Sigma males don't seduce with effort. They seduce by being so emotionally unaffected that others start craving any sign of access. That quiet, that control, that stillness. It doesn't chase, but it makes people want to be chased. And most don't even realize it's happening until they're already under the spell. Number 6. They build psychological distance like a fortress. With Sigma males, the wall isn't physical, it's mental, it's emotional, and it's almost invisible until you try to get close. They won't block you. They won't tell you to leave. They might even be friendly, responsive, and seemingly open on the surface. But the moment you try to get into their inner world, it's like running into a wall you didn't see coming. A wall you can't climb, break, or even fully describe. What makes it more intense is that they don't push you away. That would be easier to deal with. Instead, they let you think you're making progress. They let you talk, share, ask. But the deeper you go, the more you realize you're not really being let in. You're standing at the edge of something that refuses to open. Imagine trying to connect with someone on a personal level. You tell them about your fears, your hopes, your past. They listen. They might nod. They might even say something thoughtful. But then, when you ask about them, suddenly the room feels colder. Their answers are vague, short, or wrapped in humor. That emotional transparency you gave them, it's not coming back your way. And that cuts. Because it's not outright rejection. It's the kind of silence that makes you question your own importance. You start to wonder why you can't get through. Are you not trusted? Are you not enough? The truth is, it has nothing to do with you. Sigma males guard their internal world like sacred ground. It's not built for casual visitors. Their distance isn't anger, it's protection. A defense system designed to keep peace inside their minds. But for those on the outside, that quiet, polite boundary feels like a frozen door that never opens. It doesn't shout, it doesn't slam, but it stays closed. And that silence hurts more than words ever could. Number 7, they burn bridges without drama. With Sigma males, there's rarely an explosion, no shouting match, no heated goodbye, no drawn-out explanation. When they're done, they're just gone. Quietly, calmly, completely. One day you're talking, laughing, maybe even making plans. And the next you're staring at silence that feels colder than anger ever could. What's chilling is how smooth the exit is. There are no accusations, no final messages. Just a slow pullback until the connection disappears completely. They don't ghost for attention. They disappear because they've mentally checked out long before they physically leave. By the time you notice, they've already closed the chapter. This kind of silence hits hard because it offers no closure. You're left replaying conversations, analyzing moments, wondering where it went wrong. But they're not playing that game. They don't feel the need to explain their piece to anyone. And that lack of closure, it haunts people far more than a dramatic ending ever could. Sigma males don't burn bridges to be cruel. They do it because once they see a pattern of disrespect, dishonesty, or emotional chaos, they simply lose interest. And when they lose interest, they withdraw with surgical precision. No fanfare, no second chances, just a clean, quiet break. And that silence, it speaks volumes. It tells you that you were being watched more closely than you realized, that your words were weighed, that your actions were remembered. And when the cost of keeping the bridge outweighed the peace of burning it, they chose peace, quietly. What makes it all the more unsettling is that they won't hate you. They'll just stop including you in their world, not out of malice, but because once trust is gone, they don't see the point in pretending. And that kind of finality, wrapped in silence, stays with people long after the Sigma male has moved on. Number 8. They recognize manipulation within seconds. Sigma males have a built-in radar for hidden motives, not because they're paranoid, not because they think the worst of everyone, but because they've spent years watching, listening, and staying quiet. And in that silence, they've learned how to read people better than most ever will. By the time someone's halfway through a sentence, the Sigma male has already caught the tone shift, the choice of words, the emotional bait. They're tracking patterns, not just listening to content. And if something feels off, even slightly, their internal alarm goes off, calm on the outside, calculating on the inside. It's not magic, it's pattern recognition. Let's say someone tries to guilt-trip them with a soft voice and a forced smile. The Sigma won't react, they won't play along. They'll keep watching, and that stillness makes the manipulator uneasy. Why? Because most people respond to guilt, pressure, or flattery in predictable ways. But the Sigma doesn't flinch. He sees the play before it's finished. That's what makes it chilling. Manipulators thrive on control, and when they can't control you, they panic. The Sigma's silence isn't ignorance, it's analysis. He's watching how you're moving your chess pieces, and he's already figured out the end game. He just hasn't told you yet. And the best part? He won't call it out. He won't make a scene. He'll let you expose yourself. Because Sigma males know the most powerful response isn't confrontation. It's refusal to play the game. The moment they see manipulation, they disconnect emotionally, not loudly, not dramatically, just enough for you to feel the cold shift in energy. And suddenly, your tricks stop working. And that, for the manipulator, is terrifying. Because nothing shakes a fake agenda like someone who sees through it and simply chooses not to care. Number 9. They make authority figures nervous. Sigma males don't rebel loudly, and they don't seek attention by challenging the system. But what really shakes people in power is that Sigma males operate like the system doesn't even exist. They follow the rules when it makes sense, ignore them when it doesn't, and never attach their identity to any title or rank, including their own. Bosses and leaders often expect one of two things from people: obedience or competition. Sigma males offer neither. They don't suck up, and they're not trying to climb over anyone either. They simply do their work, stay sharp, and remain completely unaffected by office politics or ego-driven games. And that quiet independence, it unsettles people who are used to being either feared or followed. Imagine a manager giving out orders, watching everyone jump except one guy. The Sigma listens, nods, and does things his way if it makes more sense. He won't argue, but he won't blindly obey either. And when questioned, his calm, logical response doesn't carry fear. It carries freedom. That's where the unease begins. Authority figures don't know what to do with someone they can't manipulate with status. Someone who can walk away from the position, the money, or the recognition without hesitation. The Sigma male's power isn't rooted in rebellion. It's rooted in self-sufficiency. He doesn't need validation, which makes him the hardest to control. This becomes a quiet challenge to the structure itself. Not because he's trying to break it, but because he proves you can thrive without depending on it. That threatens those who've built their entire sense of worth on titles, ranks, or influence. And when someone doesn't flinch under pressure, doesn't care about impressing, and isn't afraid to walk away, the whole system starts to feel less powerful. Sigma males don't destroy authority. They just expose how fragile it really is. Number 10. They see weakness behind strength. Sigma males have this unsettling ability to see through people, especially those who wear confidence like a costume. While the world is busy clapping for loud personalities, bold talkers, and dominant energy, the Sigma is quietly studying the cracks beneath all that noise. They don't get fooled by surface-level strength. They watch for the subtle things most people miss. A flicker in the eyes, a forced laugh, a defensive tone hiding behind bravado. They know that real strength doesn't need to shout. It doesn't need to dominate a conversation or make others feel small to feel tall. So when someone puts on a show, flexing ego, dropping titles, throwing around status, the Sigma male doesn't react. He observes. He registers what's really going on beneath the performance. Maybe it's insecurity hiding in aggression. Maybe it's deep envy disguised as competitiveness. Maybe it's pride protecting old wounds. Whatever it is, he sees it. He won't confront it. He won't embarrass you. But he files it away. Quietly, permanently. That's what makes Sigma males so disarming. You won't even know you've been read like a book. They won't laugh at you. They won't expose you. But don't think for a second they didn't notice. They just don't waste time proving it. This ability makes them dangerous in silence. While others are focused on what people say, Sigmas are locked in on why they're saying it. And in that quiet analysis, they gather everything they need to know about who you are, and more importantly, who you pretend to be. The mask might work on the world, but not on them. Sigma males don't need to tear it off. They just see right through it. And that kind of awareness, silent, sharp, and unspoken, is what keeps them 10 steps ahead without ever lifting a finger. Number 11. They give people a taste of emotional hunger. There's something dangerously addictive about the way Sigma males connect. They don't love the way most people do, constantly, openly, or with predictable affection. Instead, their love comes in rare waves. When they give it, it's powerful, undeniable, intense. But just when you start to feel it, really feel it, it's gone again, pulled back, locked away behind their emotional firewall. And that emotional scarcity, it creates a hunger most people have never felt before. Because Sigma males don't smother you with love. They don't send validation on a daily schedule. They give you a taste, just enough to feel something real. And then they vanish back into themselves. You're left craving another glimpse, another moment, another spark of that rare connection. But it doesn't come when you want it. It comes when they choose. This is not manipulation, it's just their natural rhythm. They love in solitude. They feel deeply, but they rarely express it in the way people expect. So when someone experiences that depth, even for a brief moment, it lights something up, and then it disappears. That pattern messes with your sense of emotional timing. You begin to associate their silence with mystery, their distance with meaning. Your mind starts filling in blanks. You replay the moments, you chase that intensity again, thinking maybe next time. But Sigma males don't operate on demand. Their love feels like winter sunlight, warm when it touches you but impossible to hold. And even if they walk away completely, something stays behind. The memory of how they made you feel. The emotional contrast, the way they didn't give you everything, but gave just enough to leave a space inside you that never quite fills. That's not just attraction. That's emotional imprinting, and most people never fully recover from it. In conclusion, power doesn't always raise its voice. Sometimes it just watches while the room unravels. If you found pieces of yourself in what you just heard, the silence, the calm, the refusal to play along, then you're not broken. You're not distant for no reason. You're not cold. You are simply built different. You are a Sigma male, and the things that confuse others about you are the very things that make you powerful. You don't follow. You don't chase. You don't explain yourself just to be accepted. While most people are trying to prove who they are, you're too busy being it. That makes others nervous. That makes some uncomfortable. And that's okay. You were never meant to belong where you have to shrink to fit. Your stillness has weight. Your silence speaks louder than noise. And your ability to stand alone, even when no one understands you, is what separates you from the rest. You don't command attention. You disturb the rhythm of people who rely on surface-level confidence, on hierarchy, on approval. That quiet strength, it leaves a mark. You move through life with depth. You observe before acting. You detach without becoming bitter. And even when chaos hits, you don't lose yourself, you find yourself. That kind of presence is rare. And while it may feel lonely at times, never forget, wolves don't lose sleep over the noise of the pack. So stay true to your instincts. Keep your peace sacred. And know this, Your difference is not a flaw to fix. It's a frequency few can hear, but the right ones will always feel it. Thank you for watching.